What if you could keep your garden alive, even during the harshest summer droughts? Sounds impossible without hoses, sprinklers, or expensive irrigation systems, right? Well, the Amish have been doing it for generations. No gadgets, no fancy tech, just old wisdom and a few clever tricks that make every drop of water count. And today, I'm going to share those secrets with you. Let's start with one of their simplest yet smartest methods: thirst timing. Most gardeners either water on a strict schedule or panic when the soil surface looks dry. But the Amish know better. They use what they call the 2-inch test. Forget the apps, forget the moisture meters. You only need your finger. Push it about 2 inches into the soil near your plants. If it feels dry down there, it's time to water. If it's still cool and moist, leave it alone. See? The top of the soil can dry out fast. It might look like the Sahara Desert up there. But just below the surface, your plants could be perfectly happy. Overwatering actually weakens crops, making them lazy. The Amish believe in training their plants to work for their water. When roots have to dig deeper, they grow stronger, and the plant becomes naturally tougher against heat and drought. They call these strong systems honest roots. Here's another gem: the clay jar trick. While most people think the Amish bury treasure, what you'll actually find in their gardens are unglazed terracotta pots known as ollas. These act like underground water dispensers. You just bury the pot beside thirsty crops like tomatoes or peppers, fill it with water, and let nature do the rest. The clay slowly sweats out moisture directly to the roots, keeping them cool and hydrated for days. The beauty? The pot automatically balances the flow. Dry soil pulls more water, moist soil slows the release. That means your plants never get drowned and never dry out. A single olla can keep a big tomato plant happy for up to a week, and during summer heat, that's a lifesaver. Amish families even make their own by sealing the holes of regular clay pots with corks or clay plugs. Simple, cheap, effective. Now, timing is just as important as technique. The Amish swear by early morning watering. While most people are still half asleep with coffee in hand, Amish farmers are already out with watering cans at dawn. And there's a good reason. Watering at sunrise reduces evaporation by as much as 70% compared to midday watering. That's huge. Morning water soaks deep into the soil before the sun gets fierce, and plants spend the day hydrated and resilient. Evening watering, on the other hand, is a big no-no. Wet leaves at night become a playground for mould, mildew, and disease. So morning isn't just best, it's the only way for them. Finally, there's crop grouping. This is pure Amish efficiency. They never waste water on the wrong plants. Water-hungry crops like celery, lettuce, and cucumbers get planted in one zone. Medium drinkers like beans, squash, and tomatoes are grouped separately. Drought-tolerant herbs and peppers? They go in the dry zone. This way, they water each section according to its need instead of wasting precious rain barrel water on crops that can survive with less. It's smart, it's simple, and it makes a huge difference when every drop matters. And that's just the beginning. With these first 4 Amish secrets, thirst timing, clay jars, early watering, and crop grouping, you've already got the foundation of a drought-proof garden. Think of Amish gardening like a perfectly planned dinner party. Everyone has their seat, everyone gets along, and nobody's left out. That's exactly how the Amish treat their crops, with water zoning. They group plants by thirst levels. The heavy drinkers like celery, lettuce, and cucumbers get prime spots closest to rain barrels or wells. Medium drinkers like beans and tomatoes take the middle section, while herbs and peppers, tough little survivors, get the dry zone. This setup makes watering precise and efficient. No more wasting rain barrel water on plants that don't need it. But the genius doesn't stop there. By grouping crops this way, fertilizing becomes easier too, because plants with similar water needs usually crave the same nutrients. And since water-loving crops often get partial shade while drought-tolerant ones enjoy full sun, the entire garden feels custom-built for survival. Pathways between these zones also prevent accidental overwatering, so beans won't drown while your lettuce stays crisp. Now, step into any Amish garden in midsummer, and you'll notice something curious. You won't see bare soil. Why? Because the Amish swear by thick mulch. Every bed is blanketed in straw, hay, or dried leaves, usually gathered right from their barns. Old hay that's no good for animals, perfect for plants. A 3 to 4 inch layer of mulch works like a protective quilt. It locks in moisture, keeps weeds from stealing resources, and slowly breaks down to feed the soil. In fact, a well-mulched bed can need up to 50% less watering than bare soil. That's a game changer in drought season. Mulch also acts like an air conditioner for your roots, keeping them cool under the blazing sun. And as it breaks down, it attracts earthworms and other helpful critters that enrich the soil. The Amish are careful with timing though. They wait until the soil warms in spring before mulching, so they don't slow down early growth. Throughout the summer, they top it up, maintaining a steady blanket of protection. But what about when the skies refuse to rain? The Amish have an answer for that too. Rain catching. Every Amish roof is more than just shelter. It's a water harvesting system. Gutters channel rainfall straight into big barrels, each storm filling them like a savings account. 1,000 square foot roof with just 1 inch of rain? That's over 600 gallons of free water. Imagine how long your garden could run on that. Amish families often link multiple barrels together, building huge storage systems. They even add overflow pipes to direct excess water to other containers or garden beds. To keep it clean, they cover barrels with screens, no mosquitoes invited, and use first flush systems that let dirty runoff flow away before the fresh rain gets stored. And here's the best part. The rainwater stays naturally soft, chemical-free, and at a steady temperature plants love, much better than blasting them with hot water that's been sitting in a sun-baked hose. Finally, let's talk about deep soaking. If you water lightly every day, your plants only send roots near the surface. The Amish call that spoiled roots. Instead, they water less often but deeply. Using perforated hoses or simply letting a hose trickle slowly, they soak the ground until water penetrates deep. It takes patience, but the results are worth it. Roots grow long and strong, reaching for hidden moisture reserves underground. That means fewer waterings, stronger plants, and gardens that can handle even the harshest dry spells. So with water zoning, mulching, rain catching, and deep soaking, Amish gardens become drought-proof survival systems. These aren't just tips, they're time-tested habits that keep entire communities thriving without a drop of wasted water. If you've ever watched your plants shrivel up in the heat while others seem to keep powering through, here's the secret. It all comes down to the roots. The Amish focus on deep watering because deep roots mean survival. Shallow roots dry out fast, but plants trained to drink from the lower layers of soil keep thriving even when drought hits hard. That's why the Amish never waste time spraying leaves with sprinklers. Not only does that waste water, it also encourages disease. Instead, every drop goes straight to the root zone where it counts. The payoff? Stronger, low-maintenance plants that can take care of themselves even in brutal weather. But the Amish don't stop at watering. They also practice soil shading. Think of it as sunscreen for your garden. They lay down flat stones, scrap wood, or even giant leaves around the base of their crops. Nothing fancy, just whatever's handy. This blocks harsh sun from baking the soil, keeping it cool and cutting evaporation nearly in half. It also stops the soil from forming that hard, crusty layer that repels water instead of absorbing it. Sandy soils benefit especially, since they dry out quickly. In short, the Amish have turned junk like old boards and broken concrete into powerful water-saving tools. And here's another little secret: grey water recycling. Nothing goes to waste in an Amish household, not even dishwater. After rinsing vegetables or cooking pasta, that cooled water gets carried straight out to the garden. It's surprisingly useful, often containing tiny bits of nutrients that plants love. Of course, they avoid harsh soaps, but for rinsing and cooking water, it's perfect. During tough droughts, every bucket of grey water can mean the difference between life and death for a plant. Even the water used to wash freshly harvested veggies goes right back to feed the garden they came from. Now, let's talk about a trick that's pure genius in its simplicity: soil bowls. Amish gardeners shape the earth around each plant into shallow basins, like little mini reservoirs. When they water, the water collects in that bowl instead of running off. It soaks slowly and deeply right into the root zone. Tomatoes and peppers especially love this. Think of it as each plant having its own personal spa tub, without the bubbles, of course. As the plants grow, the bowls are expanded so the roots always get maximum benefit. Bonus: it makes fertilizing easier too, since nutrients go exactly where they're needed. And when old garden hoses spring leaks, the Amish don't throw them away. They turn them into DIY drip irrigation systems. They punch tiny holes along the length of the hose, lay it between rows, and let it drip slowly. No sprinklers, no electricity, no timers, just a steady trickle of moisture right where plants need it most. Evaporation loss drops to almost zero, and erosion is avoided. Melon patches in Amish gardens often have these leaky hoses quietly doing their job, keeping the soil moist without wasting a drop. Finally, here's one of my favourite tricks: smart shading with plants. The Amish use tall crops as living umbrellas. Pole beans climbing their supports throw shade on lettuce growing below. Cornshield spinach. It's brilliant. The tall plants love the sun, while the shade lovers get protection from scorching afternoon heat. This setup not only reduces water loss, but also stretches the growing season for greens that would normally bolt in summer. It's natural air conditioning at zero cost, just smart design. So whether it's deep watering, shading the soil, recycling grey water, shaping soil bowls, reusing old hoses, or planting natural umbrellas, Amish gardens prove you don't need high-tech systems to beat the heat. You just need creativity, patience, and a little old-world wisdom. Forget about sprinklers shooting water everywhere. The Amish see them as wasteful shotguns, hitting paths, weeds, even the neighbour's fence, but missing the very roots that need it most. Instead, they practice targeted watering. Every Amish gardener carries water by hand, using cans or hoses, making sure each drop lands exactly where it should, right at the base of the plant. Yes, it takes more time, but it's far more efficient. This way, seedlings get a gentle mist, while strong tomato plants get a deep soak. Nothing is wasted, and every plant gets attention based on its personality. Think of it as tailoring a suit. It fits better because it's made just for you. Hand watering also gives the Amish something machines can't: connection. As they water, they inspect leaves, check stems, and spot problems early. In their eyes, watering is not just a chore, it's a conversation with the garden. Sometimes they add soaker attachments to hoses, creating a slow, steady stream that seeps into the soil without tiring arms. It's the perfect mix of tradition and efficiency, giving the soil time to drink deeply. No runoff, no waste, just results. Now, here's another trick: sunken beds. During hot, dry summers, Amish gardeners lower their planting beds just a few inches below ground level. These shallow basins act like mini rain traps, holding water right where roots need it most. When it rains, instead of watching water run away, it sinks into the bowl. It's genius in sandy soils that normally drain too quickly. Crops like cucumbers thrive here, getting steady moisture without drowning. Even better, the soil taken out to form the beds isn't wasted. It's piled up to make raised pathways, so gardeners can walk easily without trampling wet soil. Stones or boards often line the edges, preventing erosion and keeping everything neat. Sunken beds are like built-in swimming pools for plants, only safer and more useful. They even shield roots from drying winds. And come winter, the Amish partially refill them to protect against freezing, then redig in spring. A little effort up front, but the payoff lasts all season. And then, of course, there's the Amish compost boost. If water is liquid gold, compost is the sponge that holds onto it. Rich, dark compost can absorb up to 20 times its weight in water. That means when you mix compost into your soil, it doesn't just improve fertility, it builds drought resistance. Every Amish household has a compost pile that's constantly fed with kitchen scraps, garden clippings, and animal manure. Layered carefully with dried leaves and straw, it breaks down into what they call black gold. The soil becomes crumbly, airy, and alive with beneficial microbes that help plants absorb nutrients more efficiently, so they actually need less water to grow strong. They use different composts for different purposes. Younger compost goes to heavy feeders like tomatoes, while older, stable compost enriches perennial beds. And they're careful about moisture balance. Too dry, and compost won't mix properly. Too wet, and it turns slimy and airless. The Amish know that soil is a bank account. The more organic matter you deposit in it, the more it pays you back in future harvests. And compost is the best deposit you can make. With targeted watering, sunken beds, and compost boosting, Amish gardens turn into water-saving machines. Every drop works harder, every root digs deeper, and every plant stands stronger against the harshest summer droughts. Screened compost, the secret ingredient. The Amish don't just throw compost into their gardens, they treat it like a fine recipe. They screen compost to separate textures, using the soft, crumbly part for seed starting and the coarser chunks as mulch around established plants. That way, nothing goes to waste. Fine compost gives seedlings the perfect gentle start, while chunky compost protects the soil around bigger plants, locking in moisture and slowly feeding the ground. No bare soil. Every inch matters. One thing you'll never see in an Amish garden is bare dirt. Why? Because uncovered soil loses water faster than a pot with a hole in the bottom. That's why the Amish cover every square inch with mulch, cover crops, or organic matter. Think of it like putting a blanket on the soil. It keeps water in and protects roots from the blazing sun. Grass clippings, straw, shredded leaves, or even old newspapers become powerful shields against evaporation. Some even plant quick-growing cover crops like clover or buckwheat to act as living mulch, which also enriches the soil with nutrients. Uncovered soil is like leaving the refrigerator door open. It wastes energy and creates stress. Covered soil, on the other hand, stays cooler, holds water longer, and gives roots a safe, comfortable home to thrive in. Hand watering. A daily conversation with plants. Instead of letting machines spray blindly, the Amish often water by hand. Walking through the garden with a watering can isn't just work, it's a ritual. Each plant gets exactly what it needs. Seedlings get a gentle sprinkle, while tomatoes and corn may get a deeper drink. Hand watering also forces gardeners to slow down and really look. Is a leaf turning yellow? Do bugs seem to be chewing on stems? Problems are spotted early before they turn into disasters. Watering cans come with different attachments too. A fine rose head for delicate greens, a long spout to reach under big leaves, and larger cans for bigger jobs. It may take more time than turning on a sprinkler, but this mindful approach saves water, prevents disease, and builds a personal connection with the garden. Trench feeding. guiding water where it belongs. The Amish also use simple trenches or shallow furrows between rows. Instead of dumping water on top, they pour it into the furrow. The water then seeps sideways and deep into the soil, feeding the roots directly. This is especially useful for crops like carrots, beets, and cabbage, which are planted in neat rows and need steady moisture. Trench watering prevents runoff on sloped ground and avoids splashing water onto leaves, which can cause disease. It's also a smart way to add liquid fertilizer or compost tea. Nutrients flow right into the root zone where plants can actually use them. Timed feeding, nature's rhythm. Here's another Amish secret. Never feed dry plants. Fertilizer on dry roots is like pouring salt on a wound. It burns. That's why the Amish wait until after watering to apply compost tea or liquid fertilizers. Just like how rain often comes before lightning in nature, water prepares the soil so roots can drink up nutrients safely and efficiently. This simple timing trick saves plants from damage and makes fertilizers twice as effective. While dry roots need time to recover from fertilizer shock, feeding plants on dry soil is like giving someone a spicy meal when they haven't had a sip of water all day. It does more harm than good. The Amish know this well. That's why they always time their fertilizer applications right after watering, usually early in the morning when plants are naturally hydrated from dew. This simple trick doubles the effectiveness of both water and fertilizer while keeping plants safe and healthy. Well-watered roots drink up nutrients quickly, leading to stronger growth and better drought resistance. Shade covers are another secret weapon. Imagine an umbrella for your plants. The Amish often stretch lightweight fabric, sometimes even old curtains, bed sheets, or linens, over hoops to shield crops from the harsh summer sun. These covers act like sunglasses for lettuce, spinach, and kale, which easily bolt or wilt in heat. The fabric reduces sunlight by 30 to 50% while still letting air and rain through, creating the perfect balance. It's a cheap, practical system that extends the growing season for cool weather crops. Then comes tight spacing, a smart little hack that uses plants to protect each other. By planting herbs and leafy greens closer together, the Amish create tiny humidity pockets. The overlapping leaves shade the soil, trap moisture, and reduce evaporation. This not only keeps the ground cooler, but also creates a mini ecosystem where plants shield one another from drying winds and scorching sun. It's a clever way to save water and grow more food in smaller spaces. Another favourite trick is funnel watering. Forget fancy irrigation gadgets. The Amish repurpose what they already have. Corn husks shaped into cones, old milk jugs with holes in the bottom, or even big leaves rolled into funnels are used to deliver water directly to plant roots. This prevents waste, stops splashing, and ensures water soaks deep into the soil. It's especially handy for peppers and young fruit trees where every drop counts. Think of it like precision watering. No guessing, no waste, just results. Before planting, the Amish give their seeds a boost with soaking. By soaking peas, beans, or corn seeds for 12 to 24 hours before planting, the seeds absorb enough water to kickstart germination. This makes them sprout faster and more evenly, even in dry soil. It's like giving the seeds a little drink before sending them on a long journey underground. And of course, no Amish garden is complete without tough varieties. Instead of chasing flashy hybrids, they stick to heirloom crops like Roma tomatoes, pole beans, and okra. Plants proven to thrive in hot, dry conditions. These old varieties have deep roots, thick leaves, and natural toughness. They might not look fancy, but they keep producing when modern hybrids give up. Okra, for example, flourishes in scorching heat that would ruin other crops. By choosing resilient varieties, the Amish guarantee a harvest no matter what the weather throws at them. In short, It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. With shade covers, tight spacing, funnels, soaked seeds, and tough varieties, the Amish turn every drop of water into food and every challenge into an opportunity.